This is the Reds POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Cincinnati Reds. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Good afternoon, Reds fans, and a good afternoon is putting it lightly as we talk about the biggest win of the year. And welcome to today's edition of the Reds POSTCAST. I'm Tim Daniel. I've been podcasting about the Reds for 5 years of publications such as Late Night Reds and the Riverfront. And I want to thank you all for spending some time with me on your Father's Day as we discuss the Reds having an epic win comeback against the Detroit Tigers. If you are just checking me out for the first time, please be sure to hit that subscription button. Also hit that notification button so you can not only get me, but you can get my good friends, Jeff Carr, who's going to be joining me today, and Steven Offenbaker on Locked On Reds Monday through Friday. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. On today's show, we're going to talk about the 8th inning rally that did it change the season? Are we speaking a different tune? We're going to talk about Wade Miley giving another solid start to this week. We're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about Matt McLain. Should we start thinking high hopes about Matt McLain? A really nice series from him. All that and a whole lot more. And of course, I'm going to hear from you guys, and the chat is already lively. It's already having a great day. We're already having some fun. I don't want to keep this going anymore. Let's get Jeff on here, guys. Let's get started.
This is what you'll be talking about.
Jeff Carr. Yeah! Should we dab?
Let's do it. I love it. I absolutely love this. I think you're absolutely right. This is the most important win of the season so far because I'm saying it. It's been weeks now. I've been waiting on to say this. The lineup is back.
It's back. It's back. Yeah. Let's go through this game. All right, so let's just start where it really matters. Let's start in the 8th inning. Detroit takes a 4-2 lead. Graham Ashcraft's on the hill, and we're kind of like, oh, man, I don't know. Like, we've seen this story a million times. It's the rubber match. We go through this every single day. TJ Friedl hits that ball to the pitcher. He has a weird underhanded throw, and it just starts spiraling from there. Matt McLain comes up, has a nice at-bat. Elly gets the RBI single, and it just keeps going and going and going. And eventually they take the lead, and you're going, what happened?
Right? Those are the things that happened to the Reds, right? The reasons that the Tigers lost. Don't get me wrong. I am super happy that the Reds lineup took advantage of the opportunities that were given to them. But don't make me, I mean, I'm not saying that this was like without help from the Tigers. I kind of feel like the Tigers really gave this one away. But at the same time, the Reds have had so many games this year that were trying to be handed to them, like, nah, man, we're good. We don't want that. We don't need that win today. They took it and they said, we'll have some more. Give me some seconds. Maybe order DoorDash for some thirds or something like that. Because my goodness, and you're talking about Elly De La Cruz. He's on fire right now. Tyler Stevenson's looking good. Matt McLain is looking good. Matt McLain batting second today. That was so much fun to see.
We're going to talk about that.
Gosh. Yes.
Yeah. Man, look at the chat is just loving it. I love when the chat is just this fire. There's so many good comments. I'm trying to get to everybody. But man, so that 8th inning rally, you mentioned it. It's a lot of firsts. Obviously, they break the rubber match streak since the Baltimore series in 23. They had the comeback wins against Arizona, but none of those when they were trailing going into the 8th inning.
Right.
So there's that part as well. We have people from South Africa hanging out with us today, Jeff.
Ooh, Adrian.
How about that? And we also have Emilio Pagán getting the 8th inning instead of the 9th. They used the closer the way you should use the closer for 3 important outs, not the last 3 outs. And Tito managed this game so well today.
Perfect on the challenges. I mean, do we? I think it was a perfect call. He absolutely needed to make the call, and he made the right call. Do we give him credit for that though? Because the Tigers actually brought their closer out in the top of the 8th inning, and maybe he was like, "Ooh, you know what? Maybe that's a good idea." But I love what he did regardless because it worked out so well.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we get to this point. We take the lead. Emilio Pagán gets his 3 outs, and you're like feeling pretty good. Lance, our good friend Lance McAllister, tweets, of course, the infamous "We now count outs at 6." And then in the 9th inning, Elly De La Cruz does the thing he's been doing a lot of lately, as he goes opposite field, almost giving some people some free pizza. If you know about the Detroit thing, I was educated on this yesterday by one of our everydayers, and puts the game, I would say, as comfortable as you can be in that circumstance. Elly De La Cruz today, Jeff, 3 hits, 2 huge ones in the 8th and 9th innings. I said yesterday, I think we're getting to the point where Francisco Lindor is probably still the favorite to start at shortstop in the National League All-Star game. But I feel like Elly De La Cruz is about to give him a little bit more of an extra challenge on that.
I was going to say, between Lindor or with Mookie Betts, like, to crack the fan vote between Mets and Dodgers fans will be tough, but he's absolutely deserving, whether it's by coach's pick or if he does make it in with the fan vote, because of how well he has really played. And it's something that I mentioned the other day on the pod, is that it's not even just the numbers that you see that hit you in the face, the slash line and the homers and the RBIs. It's also the fact that he's cut back on strikeouts, he's increased his walk rate, and the number that points to all of the luck, the batting average on balls in play, it's actually lower than it was last year, but his actual batting average is higher than it was last year. He is stepping into, I mean, this is his first step into a larger world.
Yeah, absolutely. So I like to give the trends, because I think it tells all the big story. His last 7 games, listen to these numbers: 414 batting average, 469 on base, 897. Remember when people would be in our comments after every day and they'd say stuff like, "He's not a superstar. He has too many errors. He strikes out too much." You got nothing now. You got.
And I think too, like, this is why baseball is like the most frustrating sport to be a fan of, because those knee-jerk reactions, whether good or bad, because we're having knee-jerk reactions about, Will Benson when he first came up, and some Reese Hines things and things like that. And you're like, okay, we know who this guy is. No, you don't. It's such a long season. Yeah. And this is why it's so frustrating, because when they first struggle, if you're that guy that is sitting there saying, dude, just wait, it's going to be all right, you're getting, stuff thrown at you, like, old tomatoes and things are getting thrown at you. But now that we're getting into June, Chris Valaika, let's talk about this, because everybody wanted to let go of him a month ago. He's starting to look like a genius, because this team is figuring it out on the lineup side of the ball.
Yeah. So I want to make one more comment before we go to the break here. Cowboy made a really good comment during the 8th inning rally, where he said, the thing that's changed the most about this Reds team is it's not trying to hit 5-run home runs every at bat. And I think there isn't anything that proves that more than Will Benson's sacrifice fly to tie the game up.
Yep.
I feel like when you have that moment is when you start to feel really good about the game. And then, of course, they go and score a couple more to take the lead. But Will Benson, who like you talked about, like, he came up and he was just hitting everything under the sun over the wall. And now and now it's like, okay, look, I had to make adjustments, and that sac fly was exactly what the Reds needed in that moment.
Yeah, and I think that, we do this thing as sports fans sometimes where it's just like, there were big moments in this game and they're pretty obvious, but you want to look for that next level, that next layer. And that next layer play is Will Benson, man. Like that play, that sac fly, the at bat itself, he laid off of 2 pitches that honestly were borderline strikes. Maybe even that second pitch was a strike and the umpire just didn't give Will Vest the call. But the pitch being high up in that zone like that, those are the pitches that, and Cowboy even said this, that he chases all the time. And when he's chasing those, that's when he is a problem to himself. When he is laying off of those, that is when he is a problem to the other team. And the fact that he was able to lay off those and not think that any pitch coming plateward, he was just going to hit into the stands, and he was waiting for the right one to hit, and he finally got it. That for me was why I was that point, I'm like, they're going to do this. They're going to make this comeback, because when you've got Will Benson making smart at bats like that, because this dude's a smart dude. He understands the strike zone. It's just sometimes he whiffs. He's got a higher whiff rate than most, but he has a lower chase rate than most. So the fact that he was able to kind of put that all together, he caught up with a foul ball on the third fastball that Will Vest threw him. And I'm like, oh, don't you throw him another fastball. Yeah. And he got it. He got it.
Absolutely. Well, thank God you are the director of the MLB channel, because I'm for sure running over time right now on Seg 1. But when we come back, Jeff, Wade Miley also had his day. That was really big for the Redlegs, and we're going to talk about that right after this. If you're running a business, you know that every missed call is money left on the table. Think about the last time you had a service emergency like a burst pipe. If the first plumber didn't answer, did you wait? No, you call the next one. That's why having a reliable business line is so important, and that's why you need OpenPhone. OpenPhone is the #1 business phone system that helps you streamline and scale customer communication all from an app of your phone or your computer. Do you juggle 2 phones just to keep business and personal calls separate? OpenPhone solves that instantly. Your whole team can share one number and respond to customers like a shared inbox. No more who's handling this. As you guys know, with my travel agent work, I need OpenPhone. I need to know. I use a Google Voice number, so that way they're not calling my personal number, and OpenPhone takes care of all that for me. OpenPhone is offering Locked On listeners 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/lockedonmlb. That's openphone.com/lockedonmlb. And if you have existing numbers with another service, OpenPhone will port them over at no extra charge. OpenPhone, no missed calls, no missed customers. Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400 plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trademaster program offers exclusive perks like dedicated phone lines, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals already taking advantage. So now it's your turn. Join the Trademaster program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That is supplyhouse.com. Want to thank everybody for spending some time with me on this Sunday afternoon here on the Reds Postcast. Happy Father's Day to all. I'm wearing my Bluey shirt to celebrate Father's Day today, Jeff. My thing did it again. What is going on with my technology here? But if you can check us out for the first time, please be sure to hit the notification button where you can not only get my show, but you can get Jeff and Steve also Monday through Friday on Locked On Reds as well. I'm sure tomorrow they're going to have an awfully fun show talking about today. Let's talk about when this game went into the Reds' favor.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
Turning point today was pretty easy. It was the sacrifice fly by Will Benson, which leads to 2 additional runs and gets the Reds going. What's up, Ron? How you doing? Good to see you. Pierre's in the house as well. We got a really fun chat today. I'm so excited to have Jeff here with me, even when my lights go out. Jeff, Wade Miley today gave the Reds everything they needed. So 5 innings, a 2-earned run baseball. And did you think that today, when we were to talk about Wade Miley having a 2-start week filling in the Hunter Green spot, that we'd be having not 1, but 2 games, we'd be talking about Wade Miley holding it down and giving the Reds a chance to win, and the Reds winning both those starts?
I think that for me is such a huge development, but especially with what's going on with Hunter Green, the weird injury. And I know that they just got the second opinion back from the doctors in Los Angeles, and the second opinion is that the first opinion is correct. So we're still wondering exactly where they're going on with that. But the fact that Wade Miley is able to do this is all we need from Wade Miley. We don't need him to go out there and throw a no-hitter. We don't need him to go out there and go 7 innings with like 10 strikeouts. We just need Wade Miley to keep the Reds in the ball game for 5 or 6 innings, and that's exactly what he is doing. And the fact that that's exactly what we got, especially after his first relief appearance where he got just shelled.
Yeah,
and you were thinking, where are we getting now? Like, where are we going to go now? It's been so refreshing to see this from Wade Miley, guy coming back from Tommy John and 38 years old. Everybody's like, man, why do we even care that the Reds signed Wade Miley this year? This is why.
Yeah, absolutely. So that start today was really good. I mean, 2 solo shots. Yeah. And like, really, I mean, that's what you expected. The Wade Miley's going to give up homers. That's just kind of part of the process there. And the 2 guys that give up homers to are pretty good players. So who have been on really good streaks of late. So that's all right. Yeah. Pierre says it here, doing a great older David Wells impersonation. That's pretty funny. I like that.
He's a little bit better shape than David Wells.
Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit. Has a no-hitter, not a perfecto, but I digress. Yeah, I mean, 5 innings there, and you could just see that with him. And I really liked what the Tigers manager's name is slipping my head at the moment. I apologize, Tigers fans. AJ Hinch, thank you. Yeah. When he's just doing what he does. He's just kind of throwing these breaking balls, and he's forcing contact, and we can't seem to make the adjustment on it, basically, is what he was saying. And I love Tito talking about him when he's like, well, he's not going to break records for how many innings he's going to pitch today. But we're going to see what the score of the game looks like. Yeah, I think for what they got from him today, 5 strikeouts, 2 walks, 4 hits. I mean, I don't know what more you could have asked from him to just kind of give them opportunities to stay in the game and win. And obviously they did just that.
In a perfect world, they wouldn't have needed him. In a perfect world, they would have had, Brandon Williamson. They would have had Rhett Lauder there. They might even had Julian Aguiar, or maybe even Chase Petty. But
yeah,
that's not where we are. And the fact that the Reds are still able to turn to a guy like Wade Miley at this point in his career and at this point in the season, you cannot overstate enough the value that he is giving. I don't know how many more starts that the Reds are going to get just awesome pitching out of him, but I also don't believe that they're going to be relying on him for 1 million starts this season.
Yeah, I completely agree. And then the bullpen fed off him pretty well. I was really impressed with Scott Barlow today because he did have that bad inning Friday. So for him to kind of just pick the ball back up, and really bounce back today was huge. I know Graham Ashcraft got the win today, but
that's the funniness of the win stat, by the way. If anybody's still loving pitcher win losses, I get it. Pitchers themselves really want a gun for the wins, and the wins are what gets you money. But I kind of feel like the way that they understand contract negotiations now have evolved, and wins aren't necessarily as important as they used to be because games like this, Graham pitched the worst out of everybody that was on the mound for the Reds today, and he was the guy that got the win.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we talked about Pagán and Santillan and what they were able to do as well. Carlton says here, is anyone starting to get concerned with Ashcraft giving up runs? Yeah, I was concerned with that as a starter. I'm for sure concerned with that as a reliever. What about you?
Yeah, his tendency, the thing that really bothers me and makes me wonder just where he's headed in his career is that you always see it, something goes wrong. And when something goes wrong, he doesn't necessarily recover very quickly. That CNI single that just missed the gloves of Espinal and Matt McLain gives up the Tigers' go-ahead run, right? That he did his job correctly because he got the ground ball. It just happened to get by guys. So, all right, next at bat, what are you going to do? Well, he gives up this massively just clobbered double. And you're like, oh boy, it's unraveling here. And they were able to get out of the inning, thankfully, without giving up any other runs. But I still wonder a little bit because he's always that guy that if something doesn't go exactly the way that he wants it to go, then it takes him a moment to get back to, centered and ready to get that next out. And that's tough when all you have to do is get 3 outs. Because if you've got 2 outs and then things unravel a little bit, you've got to buckle down and get that last out without giving up too much damage. And it feels like the games that he has really blown up and really kind of failed this season have been for that reason.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Jeff, before we get out of here, we do got to talk about Matt McLain. But first, let's get to our Locked On Player of the Game.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
If it was anyone other than Elly De La Cruz today, I would be lying. And I think it was Elly De La Cruz on Saturday. It was Elly De La Cruz on Friday. It was Elly De La Cruz on Thursday. It's been just the week of Elly De La Cruz here at the POSTCAST. And I think he's absolutely deserved it. So we're going to keep riding with it. Speaking of Elly De La Cruz, today, Jeff, there was a little bit of a different lineup with Elly De La Cruz where he got to rest his legs a little bit more than normal and be the designated hitter, which led to one Matt McLain going back to where his natural position is that he grew up playing in shortstop. And also saw Matt McLain come up and hit in the 2 spot today that we have not seen for a couple weeks. And he had 2 hits today. He had 4 hits in these 3 games. Jeff, you and I have been guys going on these shows on every day of our lives lately to say, like, it's going to happen. He's going to get going. I talk about trends. Matt McLain's last 7 games, 280, 333, 520 slugging with 2 homers, 5 runs batted in, 2 walks. Is it happening? Is the switch finally coming on?
I think so. I think we can trust this. I think we can trust the fact that Matt McLain is finally starting to show it on the box score, because he's shown it in the quality of his contact all year. While it's not been otherworldly, it's been good. He's had good quality of contact with really solid bat speed that has slowly ticked up as the year has gone along. It's just not found grass. He's been finding gloves just about every time he gets a good bat on the ball. His strikeout rate has come down significantly. Remember early on in the season, we were talking about, my gosh, he's got a high strikeout rate. It's come down a little bit now, and we're seeing what we expected to see. I was so excited before the game even started, just to see the fact that Tito feels comfortable enough now to go Friedel, McLain, Elly there in the top 3, because that is the top 3 that we expected to see back in February. And that is the top 3 of this lineup that gave us hope in this lineup to be the kind of lineup that supports the pitching staff well enough to make the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. And you saw what he did today. I mean, obviously not just the hitting wise, but some really nice shortstop plays. I know you mentioned that one that just got right by his glove in between him and Espinal. But other than that, I think he played really well. I mean, he had a huge play that was like where he was shaded, had a perfect ground out right to him. I want to say that was in the 8th inning as well, when Pagán was on there and just flipped it right over. So do you think, and I know this is more of a Jeff and Steve show question, so if I am burying the lead right now, please tell me, do you think we'll see this wrinkle in the lineup a little more now?
Oh, I think it's a perfect segue, actually, because we're definitely going to be talking a lot about this on the podcast tomorrow morning for sure. But I think so. And honestly, I loved what Tito did by putting him at shortstop today. Like, it was a great twofold decision where it gives Elly a little bit of rest on his legs, but still doesn't take his bat out of the lineup, but also puts McLain in a comfortable situation. Think about where he was on Friday, not necessarily Saturday where the Reds had a good game, but Friday, dude looked like he was just booting the ball all over the field. I mean, we got that one replay where, it hits his wrist and bounces off him, and he's chasing the ball over across the left side of the infield. You're like, what is going on here? Like, if you looked away and then you look up and you just see him running across the left side of the infield following the ball, you're like, is this some kind of banana ball game? Like, what do we got going on here? But it's just because he was so rough. It was such a tough night for him with the glove. But to see him get back to his roots, get back to where he's comfortable, and to get back at the top of the lineup, and everything works out well for him, I'm happy, man. And that's the kind of move that they don't really talk about as far as like lineup decisions or pitching or change decisions when it comes to managerial stuff. But that's what we talked about Tito nailing all throughout the offseason and leading up to this point. That was a beautiful decision by him.
I think we should also make mention, just so Santiago Espinal for sure deserves credit for today. Yeah. But maybe being later in the lineup, more comfortable for him as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's where he should be hitting. That's where a guy like him should be hitting. And I'm happy to see him in that spot in the lineup. I don't want that to be like, okay, so Elly had 2 hits, Santiago Espinal had 4 or had more than 2 hits. So we'll put him back in the second spot in the lineup. Please, Tito, please. Don't do that.
Let's just keep it as it was today. Well, that being said, we can go ahead and put a bow on this one because Jeff also has a show to do talking about this same weekend. So the Cincinnati Reds are victors today against the Detroit Tigers, 8-4 on the Roku special. I love 12 o'clock games, by the way. It was pretty awesome.
Interesting.
Cincinnati Reds, 8 runs, 11 hits, no errors. The Detroit Tigers, 4 runs, 9 hits, 3 errors. Your winning pitcher today is Graham Ashcraft, who is now 5-4. And your losing pitcher today is Will Vest, taking his first loss of the season. The Redlegs are off tomorrow, but then they come back home for yet another AL Central series against the Minnesota Twins. And who else would you want the ball starting a series against a really good American League team than Andrew Abbott? He is currently 6-1 with a 1.87 ERA. He will be going against the Minnesota Twins' David Festa, who is 1-1 with a 4.76. So that game will be at 7:10 Eastern on Tuesday. So we have tomorrow off. Actually, I should say I have tomorrow off Be sure you're checking out Jeff and Steve on Monday through Friday, of course, on Locked On Reds as well here on this same exact feed. I'm Tim Daniel. Everyone go enjoy your Father's Day. I'm going to go get some Dewey's pizza with the fam. I'm really looking forward to it. Take it easy, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.